My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only, and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes, and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Ontario International Airport at what is 12:19 a.m. hovering over the El Pecan. You can see how close it is to the roof. This is the entity that is indeed targeting. And this is the city of Ontario that has plotted to frame me for murder. The city of Ontario, that is again including Paul Leon. Paul Leon is in fact a terrorist, while the city of Ontario is maintaining this surveillance system by the airport, by the police department, by the fire department, maintaining things that are obvious with regard to that public nuisance, maintaining that ongoing criminal conduct, which is psychologically harmful. Paul Leon is a domestic terrorist, and doing so, as I've documented, including at the Ontario City Hall. He is squarely at the center of what the city of Ontario is engaging in and being prosecuted for. The city of Ontario represents what is a domestic terrorist that has conspired to murder an American citizen, that is myself, and also is doing so as the entity is clearly advertising that it is. You see this right here? That's no takeoff from the airport. And they're also not rising up in elevation. That's no takeoff from any airport. This is the entity that is clearly stalking, and so are the people of the state. This population conspired my murder, is doing so while they're gang stalking together. It's state action, and they're also doing so while they have framed me for murder that this entity is responsible for. These are murderers that are gang stalking. This is a murderer that's gang stalking using commercial airline planes. These commercial airline plane companies are murderers. This is what's happening with Kentucky. This is what's happening with, like I stated, Mr. Bryant, Kobe Bryant. That was not an accident. So I'm not going to mince words with that. The entity that's engaging in this is an entity that crashes right into buildings while they're engaging in this psychopathic conduct. They are demons, they're mentally ill, they are suicidal, and they will kill themselves while they are seeking to kill you. That's what happened with Mr. Bryant. It was a sacrifice. Okay? This is the entity that's engaging in that. And they are targeting me while they have sought to, what is in furtherance of murdering me, framing me for murder. Okay, murder that actually happened of another person, and it's already proven that I'm not responsible for anybody's murder, and I would never do that. But not only that, the entity's doing so because they're conspiring my murder, and that's what's behind the commercial airline companies that are going to be prosecuted for criminal activity, and I'm going to literally destroy them with damage awards. Okay, this is a level of damages that have never been contemplated under federal law, meaning they don't even have a right to exist as a company, let alone whether they will survive once I'm done with them in civil court. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:21 a.m. There are no flights from the Ontario International Airport that are even taking off from. There are no scheduled flights. And not only that, there's none that will be hovering over the Ontario Town Square. This is the Ontario Police Department keeping stalkers at the square, engaging in monitoring. All right. And the Ontario police are demons that are stalking on the roads and the highways. So they're stalking, driving by the Ontario Town Square, stalking with the people of the state that are stalking, maintaining ongoing surveillance with the entity that's stalking by the airport. Okay. The Ontario Police Department do not ever cease to engage in stalking. Mike LORENZ is going to prison for it. He's going to prison for it. I have thousands of videos that are going to put him away, and he's not getting out. This is P.O.C. And Mike LORENZ, he might as well be, because it's the same pattern of conduct. They're stalking a woman in the middle of the night in furtherance of murder, and doing it because they thought that gang stalking like this was going to get me convicted for murder. And it's not. And he's going to federal prison for it. This is where the airport is stalking, and the Ontario police are stalking along Euclid Avenue. P.O.C. These demons are going to prison, and they know that they're going to prison. They're witnessing the ongoing process regarding going to federal prison inevitably. And you're witnessing what is the mentally ill. This is what you need to know. The demon possessed fill this country. They fill the state of California. And they are deranged. Satan is psychotic. Meaning Satan is dead wrong. Satan is caught in wrong. And Satan will continue in the face of that. What Satan never wanted was to be proven. And it not only is Satan proven, Satan is still doing it while he's doing it in front of everybody. Okay, that's what this is, because you're getting to the demon possession. You're getting to the entity that is a terrorist. You're getting to the entity that is targeting, monitoring you. Okay, this is every parent that's walking around pregnant, gang stalking me. All the gang stalking moms and dads that are walking around with their babies hanging around their chest, and they're walking around perusing the book stacks in the library, and they're inside of the grocery store with the shop. These are them. This is the same entity. A dark, shadowy figure that's obsessed and monitoring my vagina right now is stalking with the police department in the middle of the night, doing so while stalking with the airport, spending thousands of dollars on the hour to keep me under surveillance, and furtherance of murder that's not going to happen, and furtherance of stealing my money that they're not going to get. All right. In an effort to frame me for murder that they're going to prison for. P.O.C, this is the people of the state. The entire population is being prosecuted for this. This is the entity, which is why I document their license plates. I document their house numbers. I document the neighborhood. I document the apartment complex. I document the housing subdivision. P.O.C. It's currently 12:59 a.m. They're targeting together. That's audible activity. It's all deliberate. Everything. Audible activity in the engineer light. They're stalking at 12 o'clock in the morning. These are demons that have failed in sacrificing. And they also failed at they failed at hiding the fact that they're demon possessed. It's a demon possessed population. And the beast system is here. P.O.C. This is an entity that's stalking together. And this is what's wrong with them. This is an entity that's monitoring me. They know where I'm at while they're engaging in what is stalking with light. That's what's wrong with them. This is criminal monitoring, but these are demons. That is what's wrong with them. Demons are monitoring. They're monitoring with light. They're monitoring as an entity while the entity is stalking the path flying over me by planes. This is P.O.C. The entity's engaging in this on a 24-hour basis. This is V.O.S Church, 303 North Euclid Avenue. They're sitting in front of the theater where the V.O.S Church is. There's nothing open over there. Even if it were the Wells Fargo across the street, by the way, it's the same pattern of conduct. The entity then just gets out their vehicle and goes to the ATM because they presuppose that appears as though they're not stalking, or that directly rebuts that they're stalking. It is the same evidence of stalking with light, monitoring with the state. And it's mentally ill behavior. And this is also what you're going to prosecute the population for. The population that's engaging in this demented behavior, which is threatening and it's criminal. This is the government that's not able, without a warrant or probable cause, to engage in this conduct. And this is what the government's doing through a population of mentally ill demons who are stalking you with light. Okay, doing so 24 hours a day. It's 5 in the morning. It's 5:17 a.m. where the government is stalking you also with things such as planes and helicopters. This is the entity that's going to be subject to commitments and federal prison. This is relevant to what is the program of psychological torture. It is P.O.C. It is currently, like I stated, 5:17 a.m. at the Ontario Town Square, where the entity is maintaining this, and they're stalking with light everywhere that you're going. So this is what I'm capturing through the neighborhood while they're parked on the side of the streets, while they like the entity does, coming outside at 5 in the morning to sit in front of their own facilitating venues with light activity. You'll be equally federally prosecuted. It's not different. And it's a pattern of conduct. You're seeing the objective of maintaining this light activity. All right, this is what they're doing in a drive-through. This is what they're doing when they're stalking in a parking lot. All right, this is what they're doing when they're gang stalking at the traffic lights. You're looking at the same behavior. P.O.C. All right, I just want to document this is the reason for the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. This mentally ill behavior, which is serving the criminal system, and it's facilitating the ongoing criminal objective of murder, of criminal stalking, and also harassment by a population that is indeed engaged in mentally ill behavior, targeting someone. And this is the reason why the airport is being shut down, that is stalking with this behavior of the people of the state. This is why the police that are stalking are going to be disbanded. This is why the entity is going to be subject to what are mental commitments, what are being committed to mental institutions, rather, while they're engaging in this. This is the entity that's engaging in what is in the engineered environment, and it is central regarding the key aspect of what is light. And the entity that is obsessively engaging in what is a molestation of your person, surrounding you with light, invading with light, following you with light, stalking you with light, harassing you with light. This is an entity that's doing so as I show you the fake sun. That's what is key regarding this mentally ill behavior of lurking in the dark and maintaining a method of light while the entity is following you from place to place in order to criminally monitor you, which is more invasive and inhumane than plain stalking from place to place. Okay, stalking is criminal. Monitoring is inhumane and criminal. All right, this is P.O.C. This is what an entity is doing with impossible light activity. They're engaging in this pattern of conduct as a population a population that is sharing in this behavioral pattern, and this is where the government is facilitating that. All right, this is P.O.C. This is what's behind it. This is an entity that's engaging in what is psychopathic pacing, a stationary actor, while the entity is on Euclid Avenue and on C Street. This is psychopathic pacing. And as you see over here, this is Lemon Avenue, psychopathic pacing. But that's what the significance of this, and the aerial surveillance, the plane activity behind me, psychopathic pacing. P.O.C. This is B Street, B as in boy. That's Hope Boulevard over there. And this is an entity engaging in cartwheels, no longer flying over this building right here, where no planes are taking off either, stalking as I am moving, stalking with demons that are stalking in the middle of the street with light activity, keeping me under surveillance, monitoring my movements. In this specific, this is where they are stalking with light. All right, and this is where the airport is stalking. 9X BD 762 5WW Thomas 920. This is the entity that is stalking in the demons that are stalking on the side of the street with their headlights on in the dark, lurking around in the dark, and doing so with the government that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. That's what's stalking at the 303 North Euclid Avenue, 303 North Euclid Avenue. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is somebody that's going to be committed. This is P.O.C. That's a spirit. That's a demon-possessed person. That's P.O.C. But nonetheless, never mind that. That's the entity that's engaging what is stalking with light. And the entity is doing this with the people of the state that are stalking. That's 303 North Euclid Avenue, the ongoing surveillance with light activity while the entity is stalking. Okay? So they're engaging what is stalking as I move, just like the entity is via aerial surveillance. This is a Washington plate. And they are all stalking with the entity that's maintaining surveillance, such as stalking with light, such as stalking at the Ontario Town Square. This is what the entity is doing, walking their dog, and then the entity starts stalking by helicopter. Like some old geezer is going to physically attack me. This is what this demon is engaging in right now. That's the pattern of conduct. They're all being documented, prosecuted together while they're engaging in surveillance with light, okay, monitoring. They're doing so as a population. The entity at the Ontario Town Square townhomes, the Ontario Fire Department, maintaining light activity in relevant position, engaging in gang stalking together. All right, this is P.O.C. That's Sultana down there while they're crossing path. This is the entity that's maintaining very detailed surveillance. This is the pattern of conduct. It's not a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of demon possession. Okay, so this is, again, speaking to obsession. In the engineer light, there's no planes that are taking off over here over the apartment complex. Stalking. Looking, pointing over there, stalking, psychopaths. They're engaging in that conduct together as a population. They're going to be committed. This is where you're not forgetful of the entity stalking by helicopter, under a fake sun, in engineer light, multiple shadows fanning around each other, and they're engaging in that conduct. The entity that's engaging in this as a society is the one that's maintaining the beast system, and these are unintelligent minions that do so. Their purpose is to stalk you, and they're going to be prosecuted for it. And all of the entity is prosecuted for it, documenting every license plate that are sharing together in that criminal pattern of conduct. This is the entity that's engaging, like they're sightseeing at 5 o'clock in the morning. They're engaging in stalking in the path, and they're stalking me in particular. Pointing over there is supposed to be a distraction. Oh, I'm not monitoring you. I'm not stalking you because I'm looking over there. It's the P.O.C. This is Lemon and B Street. All right. It is where the entity is engaging what is cartwheels by plane. All right. Stalking and moving as I move. As I move from the square, they're no longer flying over this right here, El Bacone, which is what they're doing on video. And they're doing so while there are no planes that are even taking off from the airport. Neither are there any planes taking off from the airport, flying miles northwest to then hover over this building. All right. And engaging what is doing cartwheels. This is the entity that's stalking. Psychopaths pointing, oh, look over there, while they're on camera stalking in furtherance of murder. And I documented that license plate. That's the vehicle that they're accessing. I documented the license plate. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:41 a.m. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is an entity that's lurking in the dark, stalking. You get the license plate. This is a co-conspirator of murder that then goes on with the rest of their day. Alright, that's the mentally ill. Omnitrans is stalking together with them. It is P.O.C. P.O.C. Alrighty, and the blue pickup truck is the license plate of the stalker, the female that he's with, and they're stalking together while he's pointing over there, and they're engaging in the pattern of conduct. All right, that's the pattern of conduct. This demon right here got her license plate, stalking in the dark while the entity is engaging in cartwheels, flying over Metro 102 Apartments, no airport, is maintaining any flights from the terminals, hovering over this apartment complex, doing cartwheels, and then going back to the parking lot. All right, that's the entity that's gang stalking together with Omnitrans, with the City of Ontario on the roads and the highways. All right, this is what employee 4398 is engaging in, gang stalking. They're monitoring. It is the P.O.C. Alrighty, it is, by the way, where the fake moon is located. These are the people of the state that are engaging in sharing and targeting someone that is purchased like chattel. This is what Tracy Banks has committed. Engaging in what is purchasing somebody or selling somebody and the entity purchasing it like their chattel and then stalking them. And the entity is typically engaging in what is transactions in order to murder that person. The entity engaged in that in order to frame for murder. This is relevant to the criminal activity that Omnitrans is engaging in. Framing the target individual for murder, I'm going to prosecute the business for that. For all of the elements of the criminal conduct, the entity was going to be federally prosecuted. This is light activity. All right, light 1404991. Okay, there's with the gang stalkers that are in the middle of the street. It's the same thing, like I said, engaging in what is surveillance at 303 North Euclid Avenue, where there's nothing open and they're just sitting there. The entity's doing the exact same thing at the traffic lights, doing the exact same thing with the government that's stalking my planes and helicopters. And you know that because this entity keeps a fake sun over me while I'm on the bus. And then when I'm not on the bus and you see that fake sun and I'm documenting it and you see Omnitrans driving by, gang stalking, stalking with light. That's the exact same conduct. It's P.O.C. and they're doing so. It's not even a bus stop right here. They're engaging in what is ongoing gang stalking while they're engaging in that pattern of conduct monitoring. License 1404991, bus 1331. It is P.O.C. and that is targeting. And this is that white male that's again, hey, look over there. He's a gang stalker. He's a vagina monitor. Okay, he's a vagina monitor while he's gang stalking with the female that he's with. They're both stalking me. This is the reality of the demon possessed. This is P.O.C. These are so under things like a fake sun and a fake moon that remains over me. The pattern of conduct, okay? P.O.C. It is currently 5:45 a.m. All right, just as relevant to Omnitrans that's gang stalking on video, stopping in a dangerous location right here at this turn lane. They're stopping right here at the turn lane outside of what is published on they're doing so while they're stalking with light, okay? This bus stop is temporarily closed due to construction. Remember, construction is serving the pattern of conduct, but I'm just showing you the criminal pattern of conduct underway by a transit line. Route 61 is on video stalking me with light on the side of this freeway in this turning lane right here while I'm on the sidewalk. They're stalking in the path with lights surrounding me while the entity is engaging in psychopathic pacing. This is at Holt and Lemon where the bus stop is stopped and it says temporarily closed. Omnitrans, April 14th to Route 61 and 67. Please board at the next stop, Euclid and Holt, all right? Omnitrans stops right here at the train the turning lane right here. This is where they stopped in the turning lane to engage in what is the stopping in front of what is this lane that's been made into one lane and stopping in what is the turn lane. You see, engage in this. This is what Omnitrans is engaging into, engaging what is stalking with light. All right, and they're doing so outside of, they did so at what is a non-stop. There's no stop there. That's what I'm showing you. They were stalking me with light, just as are the people of the state, okay? And like I stated, the demon that's stalking on Euclid Avenue, 303 North Euclid Avenue, everybody whose license plate I just documented, everybody in that parking lot that I just documented, everybody inside of the Metro 102 apartments that I'm documenting, the entity is engaging what is stalking with that entity. The entity is flying over this parking lot by a commercial airline plane. The previous video, you're seeing them do a cartwheel, fly over Metro 102, do a cartwheel, and then fly back in the opposite direction. That's in the previous video. And the video before that, the entity is engaging what is at what is B Street. And these demons are along what is Lemon Avenue right here, stalking with light in their vehicles, crossing path in the middle of the street with hazard lights. And that's what Omnitrans is doing right here at no stop. There's no stop where they're engaging in that. And I want to show you the signage where they're engaged in what is targeting me. They're doing so while they're not clearly in violation of what the signing, what the assignment says as well. For example, at the transit station, and they're sitting at the bus stalls, they're stalking with light. I'm showing you how they're deviating from what they're even supposed to do while they're stalking with light. They're doing the same thing under the fake sun, stalking with light. I'm going to prosecute that business. It's relevant to psychological torture, sharing in that stalking conduct with the government that's stalking and telling on Omnitrans by stalking with planes and helicopters, pursuant to what is the corrupt business, the federal RICO case against every actor, every business, and the people, the state, the population, including the apartment complex Metro 102. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:54 a.m. All right, you can see the entity maintaining what is presence over the south side of my person, flying through the middle of the street along what is Palm and Holt Boulevard. This is coming from the Metro 1 and 2 apartments where they're flying on this side of the street, where they're engaging what is doing cartwheels on this side of the street and making a U-turn going back in the opposite direction, where they're flying what is north of this location over the El Bacon on B Street. This is Holt Boulevard, and the next street is B Street, B as in boy. The entity is stalking in the path, okay? This is also no takeoff. You're just looking at them maintain elevation while they're stalking me as I'm along what is Holt Boulevard, stalking at what is Sam's Liquor, who is also a third-party gang stalker. All right, this is the pattern of conduct. This is 212 Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California, where they're stalking at the Ape Arena Fitness. I already have their license plates on the record. They're accessing their vehicle at the same time that the demons are flying over by plane. It's the same pattern of conduct. And Ape Fitness are a bunch of demons that are gang stalking. All right, this is P.O.C. The entity is engaged in what is maintaining that presence alongside of me, while the demons are engaged in psychopathic pacing. And you're looking at what is the evidence of stalking with light. That's exactly what Omnitrans is doing while they are stopping in violation of the traffic laws in front of the signage that says no stopping at any time. It's not an exception for Omnitrans, while they're also engaging what is deviating from the bus route, which I've also shown you that they're doing while they're targeting me. The entity is engaging in what is stopping in the middle of the, well, not the middle of the street, but stopping, in other words, in the middle of the path where they should be progressing to the next stop if they want to engage in what is flashing of light. They stop where they are in front of signage that says no stopping at any time in the turning lane because they're stalking with light with the airport that is stalking, engaging in what is facilitating each other's criminal activity. That's what this is as well. This is P.O.C. It's 6:02 a.m. where the entity is engaging in what is ongoing psychopathic pacing, stalking me as an airport. And I already published the flights that are coming from the Ontario International Airport this morning. It's already on the Google Drive as I document the entity stalking by commercial plane. This is the federal RICO case against Omnitrans, against the property management company Metro 102, against the commercial airlines, against the entity that is gang stalking pursuant to what is the City of Ontario's criminal activity, against Ape Fitness, okay, against little mom and pop companies like Sam's Liquor that are not going to last with regard to a criminal prosecution. And if any of this population are immigrants, they're being deported. Those that are engaging in the P.O.C. in the ways in which you're going to prosecute under all areas of federal law. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, and that's the entity that's continuing as I travel. All right, stalking with planes, stalking by helicopters, stalking with light while they're monitoring. This is what the demon at 303 North Euclid Avenue is engaging in, keeping me under surveillance as I wake up, as I move around, and the demons are stalking on Euclid Avenue. They're stalking with the entity that is maintaining that plane activity, telling on the people of the state. That's how you're identifying their pattern of conduct as well. They have one part of the criminal pattern of conduct. You're looking at what's the rest of that. One part does not exist without the rest of it. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. The entity is maintaining ongoing plane activity, amplifying plane activity, engaging in what is psychopathic stalking along what is Holt Boulevard. And here you are here, flying next to me and doing that U-turn. This is what they're doing over the Metro 1 and 2 apartments. This is what they're doing over the El Bacon, where I'm at the Ontario Town Square. They're doing so while they're monitoring my devices. It's showing that the entity is engaging in what is stalking with the government. So as I document, for example, the people of the state on my phone, another demon is stalking in a plane. And this is at Bonita and Holt. Okay, so everybody that I document, including Omnitrans, is gang stalking in furtherance of that same criminal objective, and they're doing so while the government surmises the more that they stalk you by planes, then that'll stop you from documenting CENTAS, and it doesn't. It's showing that CENTAS is gang stalking with that government. That's what that shows, that ongoing correlation, that ongoing cooperative act together of harassment, psychological torture, while they're stalking, and they're keeping my device under surveillance at the same time. Okay, and they're going down what is Holt Boulevard. This is P.O.C. and it's currently outside of what's published. Look at the Google Drive. There's no other flights occurring until like 6:15, 6:25. It's currently 6:09 a.m. and I'm capturing one picture after another. And you'll also pay attention to my the captions of the camera where I'm taking an image and then I'm capturing a picture of a plane. And then I'm taking another screenshot and I'm capturing a picture of a plane. This is the entity that's gang stalking and monitoring my device. This is P.O.C. All right, what you will see shared on the Google Drive are screenshots capturing the entity stalking by commercial airline planes. This is the federal RICO case against the commercial airline companies that are sharing in the criminal conspiracy, the objective of the state to frame me for murder upon gang stalking in furtherance of my murder. This is what all of the businesses, every company is sharing in while they are gang stalking, such as Union Pacific, as amplified audible activity, while third party 8, David Edward Manuel 060 is stalking at Dee Dee's Discounts. This is what you'll see right now. I'll go ahead and take an image of that. Talking in the past, she's a sex offender engaging in what is molestation before in the middle of the parking lot while the entity is maintaining surveillance as I'm walking on Hall Boulevard. Union Pacific is the amplified audible activity, the public nuisance, if you will, while the entity is then stalking in the path with the people of the state. The entities engage in this while the airline companies are stalking as I'm capturing the time frames and what they're doing over me. 7 Edward 78291 is a male driving an olive green Toyota truck, gang stalking at the Ontario Village Shopping Center. This is psychopathic pacing that the Ontario International Airport's engaging in through the commercial airline planes. This is psychopathic pacing on the roads and the highways. License 8, Yolanda Wendy George 937. This is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct together while the airline companies are engaging in that. United Airlines, Delta, and I believe Alaska have the next scheduled 7 a.m. flights where the entity is engaged in what is stalking me minute by minute by minute while I'm showing you as I'm going from the Ontario Town Square, for example, to what is the literally the makeshift stop that Omnitrans just created in order to stalk me with light. The entity violating the traffic laws in order to do so. They're also engaging in what is deviating from their published schedules. And as I document them, the entity engaging in what is more that harassing and targeting conduct. This is what the entity is doing. This is the prosecution of the airline companies. Airline companies that include Amazon Prime, okay? The entity that's engaging in the maintenance of businesses, I will prosecute them while they're gang stalking me with their planes. I'm gonna get to these companies, these third parties, through multiple ways of prosecuting and punishing and exposing terrorists, which is what they are. The entities engaging in this with the terrorists, which is Stater Brothers, maintaining a fake sun, and also engaging in what is that same pattern of conduct with regard to what is poisoning food while they're stalking you in the grocery store. All right, that is Fugate. It's a good thing I got that demon's license plate. This is the entity that's engaging in conduct, engaging in what, like putting laxatives in the products that they anticipate that you will purchase. And this is also shown through what is the fake sun that's over that Stater Brothers. This is the entity that's going to federal prison for that. 7 Charlie Kelly Sam 778 is stalking with Union Pacific at the entrance of the Stater Brothers. Where the train activity is amplified in volume, it's as demonic as the fake sun, it's as demonic as the behavior of the people of the state, it's as demonic as the impossible light activity. And this is Stater Brothers. License 9 Mary David Victor 779. P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 6:22 a.m. So you're going to want to take a look at the Google Drive because that's the federal RICO case against the people of the state who are the commercial airline companies. And you will see them stalking outside of, first of all, these are flights that are not going to Houston. They're not there. You're looking at them stalking me on Hall Boulevard. They're not flights from the airport as though they're headed to a destination in another state. They're engaging what is stalking me also outside of what is the published time. And they're doing so pursuant to what they are monitoring on my device. They're doing that with the people of the state who are stalking with light. This includes this third party in the parking lot. The black Altima, I documented him before, hopping in his vehicle, using the leaf blower, stalking across the street at 645 Holt Boulevard, license 6 Victor Nancy Jerry 752. All right, gang stalking with the demons that are recipients of the free food. They go to all the churches, gang stalking me. They go to the shelter locations, gang stalking. They go inside of the grocery store, monitoring as well. License plate 5 Larry David Apple 099, engaging in that pattern of conduct such as stalking in the bathroom, okay? When you have your homeless girlfriend go inside of the women's restroom to keep my vagina under surveillance with you. They're both sex offenders and they're both stalkers. They're demons. That's state action. This is P.O.C. All right, this is relevant to all the evidence that I have published on the drive, and the entity is going to be prosecuted with regard to stalking as an airport. That's in furtherance of murdering me, and also in the absolute outright failure in framing me for murder. But this is the entity's pattern of conduct, and I'm documenting and proving that as the case. This is why the commercial airline companies are stalking. In stalking, they absolutely are. This is P.O.C. I'm on surveillance cameras inside of Stater Brothers in Ontario, California, and Kia is gang stalking at register number 1. It's relevant positioning, P.O.C. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is Southwest Airlines, and there's no flight scheduled from the airport right now. And also, obviously, this is not a flight. You're looking at the low elevation, taking off from the airport, headed to a destination like what American Airlines is doing at 7:30 a.m. flight AA 3136, I believe, going toward Texas. That's not this, and there is no Southwest Airlines schedule published on the website, and that is proven through what I captured on the website already of the Ontario International Airport. That is stalking. That's what Southwest Airlines is doing. They're doing fake sun, not at the Stater Brothers in Fontana, California, where the fake sun remains over me and Engineer Light fills that grocery store, which is evidence against Mr. Fugate, who's engaged in what is poisoning me. That's the city of Fontana. That's Aquanetta Warren. That's the people of the state that are stalking in that environment. They're doing so, and I'm going to capture the video evidence because I'm going to prosecute every commercial airline on whose behalf the Ontario is gang stalking. All right, this is my shadow that's appearing here, and you're looking at a demon that's stalking. Okay, not looking at you, nothing's happening. That's how they're supposed to be defaming you, and that is the evidence of their psychopathic disorders. This is the entity that's engaged in this while the sun is over me in Fontana at the 882 Sierra Avenue Stater Brothers, where Southwest Airlines is stalking me, and doing so while the demons are inside of the employee. He's stalking in the path. That's an employee. He's stalking in the path while he's crossing path outside. This is engineer light on the outside. It's not sunlight, it's in the shade. That's also clearly not sunlight. It's appearing way back here, You see this? They're all monitoring. So is Southwest Airlines. And the entity that's doing so, I'm gonna remind you about what Amazon Prime is doing over the top of my head at the Stater Brothers in Fontana, where that fake sun is shining through the windows, where David Fugate, the city of Fontana, engaged in what is poisoning me in furtherance of murder, while they are stalking, by the way, inside in a psychopathic manner, such as inside of a grocery store on behalf of that government. This is the federal RICO case, and her license plate is 9 Mary Frank Jerry 395. Okay, these are the same demons that go inside of the bathroom, stalking as a population, keeping your genitalia under surveillance, monitoring what's going on inside of the bathroom, stalking with amplified noise while the airport, while the police are stalking. And this is city-to-city documentation. This is the federal RICO case against the corporation that I'm showing you shares a pattern of conduct from city to city. It's currently 7:25 a.m. Give me 5 minutes. P.O.C. That's the city of P.O.C. That are stalking in the path. That's the significance of what's happening on the roads and the highways, and what is simultaneously happening in the sky space, where the state of California is engaging criminal surveillance in concert with who are the people of the state. This is an entity, not individuals, and they're engaging what this is. This is called light activity. And this is impossible to occur right now. And the evidence of what is impossible is exhibited through what is a specific environment. And a specific environment is one that is distinct from the natural environment, as I have documented that for the world to understand. The specific environment is one that is literally specific. It is idiosyncratic. It is detailed to where it is that I'm located, and regardless of what time, regardless of the duration of time that I'm there. And this is evident through what is the fake sun. This video is starting at 7:30 a.m. That's deliberately maintained audible activity by the city of Ontario that is stalking in the path. That's, again, Pauliana is being prosecuted. This is prosecuted as funding terrorism, providing the resources of terrorism, while the city of Ontario is stalking in the sky space and smaller government planes, and doing so with the city of Ontario, such as Southwest Airlines over this parking lot, which was just 5 minutes ago. So the entity is engaging, as you'll pay attention, while I'm at the entrance, Southwest is flying here. While I'm at the entrance, the city of Ontario is flying here. While I progress what is closer to the intersection in the direction which is south, so does the plane activity. They're remaining on the south side of my person. But what you're paying attention to is, at the same time, Amazon Prime, like Southwest Airlines, like every other airlines, is engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct under the fake sun. This, which is over me at Stater Brothers, which is moving in real time, okay, which is also at the same time over me 24 hours ago at 828 Sierra Avenue, the Fontana Stater Brothers Markets, where they are also engaged in the pattern of conduct of poisoning. Impossible Light moves across the venue while license 56182 Victor 3 under the fake sun is engaging in what is that pattern of conduct on behalf of the government. And they do so, I want to be clear, any immigrants that are in this country engaging in this pattern of conduct are being deported. Them, their wives, their parents, their children, they're all being deported, and there is no basis to remain. These are terrorists that are being removed from the country. The entities engaging in this while they are indeed monitoring on devices. This African-American male, whose license plate I documented over here, is pacing in and out of the entrance of the venue, which is 646 West Hope Boulevard in Ontario, California, where the evidence shows the fake sun remains here until the end of the day, which is also how you know that this is a specific environment, specific to and conducive for criminal surveillance, like Southwest Airlines is doing on video 5 minutes ago, like this entity is doing with the Ontario Police Department by helicopter, like the people of the state are doing license EZM554 serial stalker that's engaging in that pattern of conduct and doing so under the 7:30 a.m. fake sun. This is impossible to be the natural environment where I am 24 hours ago in Fontana at another Stater Brothers that's sharing in the state's pattern of conduct with third parties that are maintaining aerial surveillance through commercial airline companies such as Amazon Prime, and doing so with the City of Ontario, which is what you saw yesterday. This is criminal activity right in front of your face. And the employees of the Stater Brothers are going to prison. All right, they're systematically engaging in surveillance, sexual assault and battery, doing so in the supernatural environment. That's impossible light that's all around the column here of the building, while the demons who are employed at the venue are pacing out, walking to their vehicles with regard to monitoring. They're doing so under the fake sun. This is not in Fontana, okay? And this is that entity that's obsessively, these are the demon possessed that are obsessively engaged in that criminal activity. This is the entity that's engaging in this, and this is what is relevant regarding Southwest Airlines engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct, which is impossible in the natural environment, which is what ties together the pattern of conduct. As I'm showing you a federal RICO case against Stater Brothers Markets, sharing in the pattern of conduct, Mr. Fugate at the Fontana Stater Brothers and David Quinones of the Ontario Stater Brothers sharing the pattern of conduct of poisoning on behalf of this government that's gang stalking by them with the people, okay? This is P.O.C. I'm gonna go ahead and capture the entity that's engaged in this pattern of conduct. These are the people of the state. While this fake sun is moving all about me in the parking lot, they're being federally prosecuted. The fake sun is remaining over me in Fontana, California at the same time yesterday, and it's impossible for that to happen at the same time. This is not the natural environment. Remember, the entity's keeping the fake sun, as I document very thoroughly, to leave no areas for question. The fake sun is remaining over me while I'm en route to any other city. This is Mr. David Quinones himself, who's gang stalking me in the parking lot under the fake sun in Ontario, where it's over me in Fontana, California at the same time, which is impossible. The entity's maintaining this environment while I'm en route to any other city, like what Omnitrans is engaging in, gang stalking on the roads and the highways. The entity is maintaining this fake sun while they are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they're doing so through employees like 8DCH228. She's a gang stalker. All right, this is the gang stalker, the African-American male monitoring in this video, 6YDN858, walking out of the entrance doors, going to their vehicles, gang stalking with the government that's flying over in planes, and doing so, as I documented 5 minutes ago, with Southwest Airlines that's flying over this venue, deviating from the operations of the airport in doing so, and sharing in the pattern of conduct that is underway by the City of Fontana. So I want you to see, this is what Southwest Airlines, it's a 5-minute negligible difference. And also right now I start this video at 7:30 so you to see the commercial airline company from the airport headed to a destination like what American Airlines is doing at 7:30. This is the fake sun, and the entity is targeting. This is the fake sun. 7:23. The video ends at 7:25 a.m. The entity has the fake sun over me at 7:25 a.m. yesterday. This is what I'm documenting. Alrighty, it is currently 7:30 a.m. Exhibit A. This is Fontana, California yesterday. This is what the entity's doing. Amazon Prime's flying over the top of my head, and this is Amazon Prime as well. It's got the logo on the belly of the plane. This is Amazon Prime that is gang stalking at the Fontana Lewis Library. They're also targeting in the city of Ontario. There's absolutely no airport in the city of Fontana. Moreover, there's no airport in Ontario where the entity is engaging what is clear targeting, flying and getting in alignment with my person like they are at the Ontario Town Square under the fake sun that's remaining, not in Fontana, but in Ontario, while they're monitoring this evidence that you are looking at here. Alrighty, it is currently 7:30 a.m. Exhibit A. This is what the entity's doing. Amazon Prime's flying over the top of my head, and this is Amazon Prime as well. It's got the logo on the belly of the plane. This is Amazon Prime that is gang stalking me, targeting me under the fake sun at the Fontana Lewis Library. They're also targeting in the city of Ontario. Gang stalking on the roads and the highways like I documented Amazon Prime doing at the intersection of Valencia and Sierra Avenue. Doing so with the I surmise, this is the store manager, his name is... This is engaged in the same criminal activity as David Quinones at the Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt Boulevard, where Amazon Prime is gang stalking me there, and they are competing with the presence of a fake son while they are under public investigation.
This is what I'm referring to.
Surveillance and furtherance of murder with the U.S. government.
This is what I'm referring to. So I keep pressing pause on the wrong thing. My apologies. The entire video without any pause are published on the website. This is a screen recording showing you in real time what's happening, showing you what's happening 24 hours ago, where the entity is stalking in the path. They're flying from miles away from where the Ontario International Airport is. They are targeting, hovering in elevation to fly in alignment to my person. They're clearly targeting under the fake sun that's at the same time over me in Fontana, where Amazon Prime, speaking to the commercial airline companies that are terrorists, engage in what is murder of American citizens, is what UPS did in Kentucky. All right, this is what gang stalking police departments do with helicopters, which is what happened to Mr. Kobe Bryant. All right, while the entity is gang stalking and maintaining surveillance and doing so using planes and helicopters, and then mischaracterizing, deceiving you regarding what is actually happening. They're sacrificing people just like they are while they're gang stalking people. This is the entity that has sacrificed itself, however, and I'm going to prosecute them as the entity is engaged in this. The entity is engaging in gang stalking. They're serving in what is framing me for murder while gang stalking 9 Apple 0 Robert 471, and they're going to be federally prosecuted for this. They're doing so with the government that's stalking with planes and helicopters under a fake sun, which David Fugate has no legal argument in court. It's not based on whether I know you. It's not based on whether you speak to me. It's not based on your facial expression. It's not based on your race. It's not based on your familial relationship to me. It's based on the government's P.O.C, the government that is telling on everybody that is stalking by planes and helicopters under a fake sun that does not leave from what I want to be clear in Ontario, where they are stalking in Fontana at the same time, where the entity is targeting me by commercial airline planes in a city that doesn't even maintain an airport. Not that that is an excuse for the clear targeting that the city of Ontario is engaging in. It's not. And let me remind you about what the city of Ontario is doing at the Stater Brothers that has a fake sun from morning until evening. Let's recall that evidence together. Alrighty, this is the entity that has the fake sun as I documented March 6, 2026. This is relevant to daylight savings time or not. It will never reconcile the duration of time where I am capturing an impossible occurrence. And this impossible occurrence precludes the ability for there to be any sun in Fontana, California. But I have more than that. It's not only in Fontana, it's remaining over me throughout the city of Fontana for the duration of my time in Fontana, where Amazon Prime is gang stalking me by commercial plane, by the way, at Arrow and Sierra in the evening, 6 o'clock at that intersection, flying over my head. And they are also gang stalking me at the Fontana Lewis Library during the 9 a.m. hour, flying over my head at the side of that library and flying over my head like I'm documenting at 7:30 in the morning in Fontana, California at the Stater Brothers. The Stater Brothers that is maintaining an environment that is preclusive regarding there ever even being a sun in Fontana, let alone over me, anywhere in the vicinity, anywhere in the sky space where I'd be able to capture it because of what the demons, the unintelligent demons like David Quinones are doing in Ontario, gang stalking through the neighborhood market that is heavily documented. Doing so with the government that's flying over your parking lot by planes and helicopters. Doing so with the demon-possessed that are walking around, driving in, and stalking in what is impossible light activity. You're going to prison for also poisoning the products that you are stalking me as I purchase them, and they're putting substances in them. This is creating what is digestive issues, which is exactly what I'm experiencing. So I want to make sure that you can see this. And this is, let me go ahead and document. This is stalking with light 9JBR599. The fake sun's in Fontana yesterday. This is stalking. All right. This is mentally ill conduct. This is what they're doing this morning in the dark at 303 North Euclid Avenue. Impossible light moving across. And these are the ones that are engaged in this while they're supposedly framing you for murder. They're all being federally prosecuted, the entire population. And everybody in positions of authority. You're not remaining as the mayor, no fire chief, no police chief, no president of airport authority, no airport altogether, no police department altogether, removal of this while they're engaging in this pattern of conduct. But nonetheless, this is the entity that's engaging in this pattern of conduct, and this is the evidence that shows the maintenance of that fake sun. 6:40 a.m. March 6, 2026, 4:40 p.m. I'm at the same entrance, okay? And this is essentially what you're looking at here. All right, the entity is maintaining that fake sun. I'm standing under this entrance where that fake sun is so perfectly aimed at underneath a covered structure, it's impossible. But it's also speaking to what it's targeting. The impossibility is speaking to the evidence of targeting. And it's also clearly targeting when there's no airport in the city and commercial airline planes are flying over me under what is a fake sun that couldn't possibly even be in that city, let alone over me and remaining over me. That's the pattern of conduct. This is the entity I want to document engaging what is poisoning my food in Fontana, California at Stater Brothers. And this is relevant for what is federal. This is an entity that's engaging in this pattern of conduct. I was poisoned yesterday. The entity putting substances in my food, not ceasing to engage in it. They're watching me document. You're looking at the prosecution. This is the unmistakable evidence. You have the Ontario police stalking by helicopter. That extraordinary level of evidence is going to put people like Fugate and Quinones in federal prison. It's the entity that engaged in what is trying to frame me for murder, Mike Lorenz's criminal conduct with the people of the state. They're going to federal prison for these things, okay? This is an unlawful threat posed by an entity that is gang stalking you. And it is an unmistakable, even a supernatural pattern of conduct. And it is shared by both venues in the city of Fontana and the city of Ontario. Literally, this is evidence of the fake sun over both venues at the same time, which is impossible. And it's also impossible that at both venues at the same time in Fontana and in Ontario, the sun does not leave that city. It doesn't leave from being over me. Upon my entrance and exits of those city libraries, for example, as I'm documenting that pattern of conduct. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:45 a.m. This is the prosecution of commercial airline companies who will be federally prosecuted. And obviously, as I prosecute at the commercial airline company, Amazon Prime, I'm prosecuting that entire company that sells products, that's engaging in what is gang stalking me at my place of residence, at the city libraries, which is the city themselves engaging in that pattern of conduct, gang stalking on the roads and the highways, sharing in criminal summoning because Amazon Prime is maintaining commercial planes, they're maintaining vehicles on the roads and the highways, they're engaging what are the provision of services and the sale of goods while they're engaging in this criminal surveillance system in furtherance of murder, seeking to frame an American citizen for murder. Literally, the evidence of gang stalking is going to prosecute this company for it, and they are specifically targeting me with knowledge, and you are also doing so with that criminal objective in mind, which is why they are targeting in furtherance of that same identical pattern of conduct, i.e. Amazon Prime flying over the top of my head at 7:30 in the morning, and I'm in Ontario, California the next day with regard to what should be the natural environment, and it is not, because this is where the fake sun is. In fact, the evidence shows that this is where the fake sun stays. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:46 a.m. This is the prosecution of the U.S. government. Mike LORENZ is going to federal prison as well. P.O.C. It is 9:21 a.m. The series of license plates that I just captured stalking me on the roads and the highways, just like 9PXM 488, I believe. This is crossing a path. This is stalking. This is where Amazon Prime Air is maintaining commercial planes at the Ontario International Airport, and the entity is maintaining what is flight over me. These are planes that are engaging what is a pattern of conduct flying over the Stater brothers, and doing so under the fake sun that's over me. That's 2 hours. It's during the 7 a.m. hour where Lupe is gang stalking me in that parking lot. And if you look at the video evidence, you'll look at exactly what I'm describing right now. This is the entity that's maintaining commercial flights over my head, targeting me in furtherance of murder. Amazon Prime is specifically acting in furtherance of trying to frame me for murder by gang stalking me in their planes and in their vehicles, while they're using the business itself as the guise for stalking me. And the proof of them stalking is the fake sun documentation as well, and those demons operating those vehicles molesting me with impossible light. This is the entity that's at the Ontario International Airport, where none of the terminals are going to result in, when you're taking off over the airport, and these are the terminals over here. So these are the terminals, and none of these terminals are resulting in what is the flight over the Stater brothers over the Ontario Town Square. The entity is engaging what is flying miles, approximately over a little under 4 miles, over 4 miles northwest, in order to engage in what is flying over the El Bacon, flying over the Ontario Town Square, flying over the Ovid Family Community Library, flying over the Ontario City Hall. And they're also doing so at a lowered elevation where a takeoff is completed over the sky space of the airport, over the terminals. Okay, it's a rapid incline if anyone's ever been on a plane. The entity has already conceded that they're stalking. What you are understanding is that the entity, first of all, is demonic. It's a statewide system. It's the U.S. government's pattern of conduct, and this pattern of conduct is what is the beast system. And the beast system is satanic. The beast system is operated by the demon possessed. And in California, the entity is gang stalking amongst the existence of that beast system. The entity is engaging in what is trying to frame me for murder. This is relevant as to why. You already know that the Ontario International Airport, Amazon Prime, the commercial airline companies, Omnitrans, the people of the state, businesses like Stater Brothers are sharing in what are targeting me, gang stalking me, and furtherance of murder. And the why is because this entity also seeks to frame me for murder. This is why they're engaging in what is that blatant disregard for being identified as stalking someone, where you will not be merely prosecuted for civil damages. Okay, this is 9:24 a.m. This is impossible light activity.
Not only impossible because this isn't the sun, but it's also impossible because the fake sun's in Fontana, as I'm documenting 24 hours ago. The entity's keeping the fake sun in Upland, California. I was documenting as I'm systematically going up to Upland, California, and the entity's keeping that fake sun. Where the entity's maintaining this pattern of conduct as I'm documenting this environment that is remaining around me, and that's how you're prosecuting those. No matter how many years they've been employed at any venue, such as the Ontario International Airport, they will be federally prosecuted, engaging in what is sex trafficking of the targeted individual, engaging in what is conspiring the murder of the targeted individual, engaging in what is the psychological torture program in furtherance of murdering that targeted individual, doing so for profit, which is the federal RICO case, doing so as immigrants in this country, which is deportation, and they're also doing so with the intent to frame that targeted individual for murder. This is P.O.C, and this is the entity's foolishness for admittedly gang stalking me. They're admitting to engage in what is criminal objective of trying to frame me for murder. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 9:25 a.m. when you're looking at those that are representing TSA. The federal government is engaged in the beast system. This is an illusion regarding your security, privacy, the ongoing monitoring that's underway by those that are engaged in aerial surveillance, which while the entity is stalking in planes and helicopters. This is the Ontario International Airport, and these are the terminals. And the fake sun is moving in real time on the street that I'm at as the bus turns. And then it's going to get back on Airport Road and drive in the opposite direction. And this fake sun is then going to go in the opposite direction, which it's going east now, then it's going to go west, remaining over me. All right, that is speaking to every company, every person, any department, license 8ATY407, that are specifically targeting, not ignorantly, in this pattern of conduct. They sought to sacrifice and target the person that is here to report on it and to expose it and to prosecute it. This is Terminal 4. Airports are conducting and completing takeoffs over the property, the sky space of the airports. What I'm capturing the Ontario International Airport and the commercial airlines engage in is the blatant, conspicuous surveillance and furtherance of murder, and it is the P.O.C. And that's the federal prosecution of the U.S. government. Stalking 89970L2. That's Oshkosh. This is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct as the fake sun turns, as the bus turns, and it remains in this manner. As you know, at 9720 Juniper, the fake sun's still over me into the city of Fontana. COREENS 8NKC 041 78973. And these predators that are co-conspirators of murder are also demons who are stalking with impossible light. All right, and this is impossible light that's planted on the inside of the bus, and they're targeting with impossible light that flies on the inside of the vehicle. It's not sunlight, and they're all stalking. This is light activity. This is what they're doing on Euclid Avenue in the dark, monitoring me while I'm sleeping on a bench out, which is the people of the state's fault. They've stolen my money and my wealth, and they conspired my murder in doing so, and they are specifically engaging in that. There's no legal argument, and I'm going to prosecute the entire population. That's P.O.C. That's the entity that's engaging in activity creation. It's a pattern of conduct. Airport drive. They're monitoring together. Alrighty, this is Omnitrans that engaged in what is violating the traffic laws this morning, stopping in the middle of the street in the turn lane so that they can stalk with light outside of what is published regarding what is no stop. That's where they did it, in the middle of a turn lane where it clearly says no stopping at any time, and they're doing so right beside where I'm standing in order to stalk with light. This is also them stalking with light. This is stalking with light. This is stalking with light. It's P.O.C. and I'm going to prosecute them. It's 9:28 a.m. It's currently 9:38 a.m. Employee number 3373 engaged in what is sexual assault and battery via engineer light. This is what is reflected on the display here. Okay, relying upon and reasonably relying upon what the entity is displaying while they are aware that they're being documented. And any misrepresentation is going to be met with federal prison if that's already not the case. The entity that's gang stalking with the police, like what Omnitrans is doing with Ontario Police, Fontana Police, etc., engaging, and Pomona Police I've documented, they're going to prison for that. This is and the employee number that's reflected, and they are indeed stalking under the fake sun. Remember, the entities keeping the fake sun over me in Fontana, California at 9:35 a.m. where Amazon Prime is flying over my head like they were doing at the Stater Brothers in Fontana yesterday morning. The entity's engaging in this P.O.C. while I'm aboard, and you're looking at while we're at the airport, and that fake sun is remaining through my window in alignment with me, which is not the same as, for example, the person in the drive-through. It is very tailored, very specific. This is the entity that's maintaining that specific environment aboard Omnitrans that is gang stalking and furtherance of murder. Omnitrans as a business engaging in what is federal stalking with the government on behalf of the government in concert with the government that is conspiring my murder and seeking to
frame me for murder, which is why the government is stalking, and the government is stalking with the people of the state. Omnitrans is a state actor, and this employee is sharing in what is that perpetual sex offense and furtherance of psychological torture, ongoing harassment, and threatening conduct, including while monitoring my device. And there's no warrant or probable cause, and this is a pattern of conduct by this transit line. The entity is maintaining simultaneously the fake sun over the Fontana Metroland train station. Okay, my body of evidence surrounds, Omnitrans surrounds this entity. All right, he is indeed targeting me, and he's targeting with impossible light, opening and closing these rubber-bound doors under what is also not the sun, while the entity is engaging what is pacing on the roads and the highways. The entity maintaining the fake sun, as I also documented at this venue of McDonald's, remaining there at 9:35. Also crossing path again in the evening while they are stalking by being in the drive-thru. This is the federal RICO case for vagina monitors that make purchases and engage in what is the receiving services while they're monitoring with the state. The entity is engaging what is stalking with impossible light, and this employee is going to be federally prosecuted for it, including he's doing so now. And how is he doing so? While he's not driving the bus and stalking with impossible light, which is demonic activity. But they're going to be committed and criminally prosecuted for terrorism while they engage in their demonic activity. These demons are stalking with light, which is him targeting me with light while they're monitoring together. And I'm going to prosecute for it. It's P.O.C. It's Omnitrans. It is licensed, 9:40 a.m. and this is bus 2359. I'll get the license. It's P.O.C.
All of these people, including those under the age of majority, are engaged in surveillance and surveillance of genitalia in the bathroom, which is a private space, where Michael Dorsey is engaged in the same sex offense as Mike LORENZ in Ontario, California. Maintaining ongoing surveillance of genitalia is the inhumane criminal activity regarding criminal surveillance of a sexually motivated, predatory, and perverted purpose. Okay, that is pursuant to what is bathroom monitoring that's occurring on the roads and the highways, and simultaneous light activity, which is dynamic while the people of the state are gang stalking on what is Sierra Avenue, which is not the product of sunlight. That is San Bernardino County Fire. That is the entity that are the people of the state who are vagina monitors, and that is representing the entity that's inside of the bathroom. You'll see their images uploaded to the Google Drive. This is stationary light activity, and you're looking at what is dynamic, like light that's flying on the wall. It is while the entity is maintaining surveillance. This is positioning. And these are also demons who share united knowledge. They share corporate knowledge about what's happening in bathrooms while they're engaging in surveillance, and the fake sun is over this. And like you saw this morning, like I've already documented, at 8:35 a.m. at Spring Street and Sierra, that's not sunlight, nor would the sun be in any position to cause that to happen, nor would the sun still be where I'm documenting it at 8:35 in the morning, still be any location to where, if you even want to argue that it's sunlight, which is clearly not, but the entity has a fake sun at 8:35 a.m. while I'm outside of this same venue. This is under all circumstances. Kind of monitors that give birth to children and gang stalk with them. They're demons. This is the beast system. It needs to be known the entity that's engaging in the perpetual sex offense engages in sexual violence with children. The children that they're holding hands with, the children that they're smiling and taking to the library, they're taking them to the library to engage in sexual violence and criminal activity with the government in furtherance of murdering someone, a targeted person that they know exactly who they are and they know what's going on between their legs, and so does Michael Dorsey. That's why he's not remaining as a chief of police. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 4:33 p.m. This demonic on top of what is criminal activity, the entire venue is prosecuted by virtue of this is direct evidence. This is prima facie. This is P.O.C. It is currently 4:33 p.m. Alrighty, this is employee number 4254. He is monitoring as the impossible light activity on the ground shows you. The light activity is showing the reflection of this appearing on the ground. It's impossible. It's not caused by these lights. That doesn't create that light activity. And also the light is dynamic. It's traveling through the middle of the bus. It's also traveling on the sides of the bus. This is demonic. That's not calls from the street lamps. Everybody on this bus is monitoring. They're all demons as well. And they're also monitoring in traffic, and so is this demon. 4254 is the employee number. He's engaging in what is targeted harassment. He keeps his foot on and off the gas, which is causing an ongoing incessant jerking, and he also stomps on the brake with regard to moving my body around. That's sensational activity creation in the engineer light. He's doing so in Fontana. He's engaging in criminal summoning with the city of Fontana. He's engaging in what is stalking with the entity that was maintaining aerial surveillance at Sierra Avenue in Fontana, just traveling with the bus that as it's going on Sierra Avenue in Fontana. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct with this employee. This is the city of Ontario, with whom employee number 4254, I believe, is gang stalking me in furtherance of murder. Okay, this is here you go, displaying it right here. 4254 is in fact, it's an African American male. This is the number that they are representing, is the employee number, and he's engaging in the pattern of conduct. The entity engaging what is taking his foot for the entirety of the route, in the middle of the intersections, not accelerating, taking the foot off, on and off the acceleration, and also slamming on the brake. Okay, this is a means of what is not only monitoring, but it's harassment. Everything the entity is doing while they're keeping a fake sun over me, while impossible light is floating through the middle of the bus. This is how demons who are very petty, who are still being federally prosecuted, and I'll prosecute for this as well, while they're engaging in what is any manner of seeking to engage in what is a series of microaggressive conduct while they are harassing as an entity, which is terrorism. It is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:25 p.m. and this is the same Ontario International Airport where the fake sun is over during the day. That's engineer light, and this is engineer light at nightfall. Okay, employee number 4254 has no reason to be taking his foot on and off the accelerator when he's driving. This is the entity, and you can feel that. So I know how to drive, and he's doing that the entire route. This is an entity but it's activity creation as well. But this is an entity that is, again, while the moment that I lay down to take a nap, and by lay down I just mean lay my head down. The city of Fontana sounds sirens, and this demon is gang stalking. That's employee number 4254. I just want to be clear: criminal summoning is the basis of prison. So these demons are engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they are not exempt from federal prison. In fact, it's more so federal prison because of the level of facilitation that the Omnitrans bus route is engaging in. Everybody on the roads and the highways, on the freeway, all around, as it's going from city to city, with multiple law enforcement agencies that are gang stalking me and furtherance of murder stalking me together with employee number 4254. That's a basis of federal prison. So that's the legal argument, but I'm just documenting because I'm going to prosecute Omnitrans, and I'm going to prosecute employee number 4254. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:26 p.m. One 1613617. That is Omnitrans driven by employee 4254. Getting off and engaging in what is harassment the entire route, which is another manner of targeting. This is P.O.C. So as I operate my device, taking his foot on and off of the accelerator. Everything that the entity is doing while they're engaged in the pattern of conduct is their ongoing demonstration of severe mental instability. That is what is, by the way, also very highly unsafe, in the same way that it's unsafe that demons are in law enforcement, that they are in the medical field, that they are pilots having access to planes, flying them, and also public transportation. Okay, the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct and is obsessively monitoring me rather than actually focusing on the road and driving safely, and that is a safety concern that the demon possessed are monitoring like that, targeting one person while they're operating large coaches on the roads and the highways. And that's the same with the people of the state. These are demons on the roads, and they're all monitoring one person together while I show you the fake sun over me on any freeway, which the evidence includes that. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 9:40 p.m. All right, the parking lot is full of third parties stalking with the Ontario International Airport that just flew over, and this demon is stalking with light to engage in sexual assault. License 8 Larry Queen Jerry 990. That appears to be an olive-skinned female with glasses on. She's stalking in furtherance of murder. She's a co-conspirator with the city of Ontario. The entity is engaged stalking from city to city, and that's what employee 4254 is engaging in, monitoring me on the roads and the highways. This is P.O.C., and this is my shadow that's surrounding. So the entity is stalking, flying over the elbow cone.
That was moments ago. And this is the entity that's flying now over the Ontario City Hall. Okay, with the people of the state. All their license plates are on the Google Drive. I'm going to upload it right now. They're sitting in their vehicle. 6CAD. The male with the this vehicle right here, sitting in the vehicle, monitoring, and the silver vehicle down here sitting in front of the vehicle, monitoring, and the entity is progressing, stalking. So like I said, this is the entity that's conspicuously engaging, obviously engaging in it. The city of Ontario has no problem letting the world know that they are targeting me, and they're targeting in furtherance of what is the failure to frame me for murder, engaging what is theft of my money, and doing so to murder me as well. And they're doing that with the people of the state that thought that they were going to share in my money. And as the entity is engaging in that, and these are all co-conspirators of murder as I'm documenting it, and that's why they're engaging in surveillance in this dark parking lot. They're sitting in their cars. They're stalking with the entity. That is stalking, flying over the Elba cone and then flying right here, and that's called relevant positioning, okay? And it's in the environment. Here's my shadow here, here's my shadow here. This is exactly what employee 4254 was doing, that psychopath using the gas pedal to engage in what is activity creation, which is psychotic, and it's activity creation in that engineer light, while a demon is monitoring me, knowing what I'm doing on my device. These are all demons, and those are demons that are stalking in commercial planes. Doing so while they are engaging what is all manner of flying over the Ontario Town Square, over both ends of it, as I'm walking from side to, from one end of it to the opposite. This is the P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, while the entity is doing so, 9:48 p.m. You're going to look at what the entity has published on the Ontario International website. I published that today. The entity is maintaining ongoing gang stalking conduct in cities where there are no airports. Paul Leon and Aquanetta Warren are both domestic terrorists, and they're being prosecuted. And I've shown you the pattern of conduct regarding aerial surveillance that the entity is engaging in. Commercial airline companies like Amazon Prime, Southwest Airlines gang stalking me at Stater Brothers west of this location, and hovering in the same manner over those venues in the same way that they are here, following me from place to place, from position to position. All right, and they're doing so in concert with the people of the state. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:49 p.m. This is a demon that's stalking with light, running back to his vehicle. His aim is to aim light. This is a demon. This is a mentally ill person. And this is the population that's engaged in a pattern of conduct. It's P.O.C. It's prosecuted as the City of Ontario, targeting as a population. License 9WEB76, substantially similar. This is the entity that's engaging. Oh, he aims his vehicle, the lights, toward me. Okay, that's what he's doing. He's stalking with light. The library is closed. I'm the only one over here. Well, I'm the only one that's over here. The demons are very much engaged in hiding behind bushes, hiding behind buildings. That's how they're engaging what is appearing out of nowhere if I make a sudden move or do something on my device. Their co-defendant is gang stalking. License 7 George Kelly, Charlie 474. The senior citizens inside of this building, this apartment complex, are gang stalking. John Stewart Company is gang stalking, while the entity is also flying over this senior citizen complex, as I just documented in the previous video. It's 9:51 p.m. And that is the criminal cooperative acts of the people of the state that are engaging in surveillance together. These are demons. And these are the type with cursed wombs that give birth to demons that are monitoring as well. And they buy body parts, and their lifestyles are just as fake as those body parts that they purchase. These are also the homosexuals that are stalking in the bathroom, stalking with the entity that's stalking by commercial airline planes, psychopaths that are looking perplexed while they're caught engaging in the pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. The entity is stalking by plane, doing cartwheels while demons. Be careful who you're laying down with, fellas, because those are demons. And they likely carry a lot of infections as well. I'm not going to tell you about that either, while they're buying body parts to attract you in. And they're demon-possessed, gang-stalking, undercover lesbians that are obsessed with my vagina. Okay, that's why they're over here gang-stalking an engineer light at 10:25 at night, where the airport's flying over this Ontario Senior Center. That's terrorism. Okay, that's P.O.C. You don't want them to give birth to your children either. I just want to point that out. That this is currently 10:26 p.m. where the entity is gang stalking, and this is again the entity is maintaining the published list of flights published from the Ontario International Airport, and I'm capturing what is stalking me.
going from both ends of the Ontario Town Square as I'm at B Street and Lemon, then as I'm here at C Street and Lemon. The entity is stalking by plane. That's following me as I'm walking down the street. The entity is doing so now, maintaining ongoing flights in concert with the demons who are pacing. P.O.C. It's currently 10:26 p.m. and the entity is doing so inside of the Ovid Family Community Library. They are gang stalking. The Latino male is in here monitoring and doing so while he's wiping down, engaging in janitorial services. He is gang stalking. Okay, it's criminal presence in the path. It is currently 10:26 p.m.